Hello
Now, is
and
there going
welcome.
to be a thing? Oh, my apologies.
Nope, you're good. You're good. Hello and welcome to Show of Hands Hangout. We have a completely new face. Um, we don't. There is a completely new face on the show. I'll have you just quick introduce yourself, say who you are on the app, what you would like us to call you, and the worst misheard song lyric you've heard lately.
Okay, dobranoc, moja droga. I am ctskapski on the app. Ctskapski, actually, on the app, should clarify. We'll edit that in post. Oh, wait, there is no post. This is live. Well, that's a thing. Um, uh, you can call me anything. It doesn't matter. And the best, let's clarify, the best misheard song lyric I've heard was that a lot of people seem to think that radioactive means ready to rock you, which is just wonderful.
Ready to rock you. Okay. So it's ready to rock you, ready to
Yes,
rock you. Nice.
that's a
Huh.
thing.
Well, you know what? Tomorrow when I hear it in the car, I'm going to start singing that and see what the kids say. So that gives me something new and fun to do.
They will stare at you as though you have started speaking the language in which the Necronomicon has been written.
Wow. See, now if you're going to start using big words like that, I'm going to have to, pull out a dictionary or something because,
Well, no, the Necronomicon is a tome bound in human flesh in Lovecraftian or H.P. Lovecraft's fiction. That reading it can cause you to go mad.
oh,
There you go.
there you go. Well, that that is something. Well, I'm Ronderman on the app. And you could fill books with misheard lyrics that I've done because I'm like partially deaf, so nothing sounds the way it's supposed to sound to me. And I mean, general conversation, I have to piece together many times. Um, the It's not recent, but one of the worst that I get laughed at from my wife all the time is when "Beat It," the Michael Jackson song. Um, No one wants to be defeated, is what he actually says. But what I always heard was, no one wants to be the beat it. And so when um, after we got married, I sang that, just in the car, and she just laughed. And 20 years later, she still, anytime we hear it, she sings it so loud that everyone says, "What was that?" And she goes, "Oh, that's Ron's version of beat it." So there you go.
That is gold.
Um, I am Firefly 5 on the app, Gaijin in real life, and with a little bit of background, I work in a pretty conservative area, um, and so there's a difference in the music that I hear at work and the music that I hear not at work.
Mhm.
Um, I heard someone on campus singing. There's a song that's I don't actually know what the real words are. It starts with "God is in control," blah 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 blah, and I don't know what the blah 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 is, but I'm pretty sure that it's not. He sent Jesus to Earth so that, or to come save our bacon. Um,
You never know.
I laughed pretty hard when I heard it, and then um, the person the person that was singing it overheard me laughing, um, which brought up a small conversation. He said, "Well, what are the words?" I go, I don't know. Then how do you know those aren't the words? I go, he was Jewish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going after bacon.
I mean, I can come up with other reasons, but that's one.
However, I do firmly believe that there will be bacon in heaven. I mean, all good things are going to be in heaven, and obviously bacon is good. So I'm pretty sure that when I get there, I'll get a Krispy Kreme donut and bacon, you know. So,
My heaven, the rivers will flow with this.
now what exactly is in this?
That depends. I can't remember. Actually, I just tasted it, so I remember. It is gold. It makes the world go round.
So is it straight?
Of course.
Okay, well, I did not meaning to insult or
I
anything.
like my liquor like I like my men.
Oh, okay.
Could have been this, but it turns out that's not what I was drinking tonight. I'm not an alcoholic. Important to make that distinction. I'm an I don't know, alcoholista. There we go. That's a thing now.
That
I've
it
made
is
it a
tonight.
thing.
So now you are in Florida, as per your
Florida,
profile.
yes.
Yes, and but you when we got on, you started speaking something completely different. What was that?
Polandian, which I'm pretty sure is what they call it over there.
So are you from Poland or you're?
No, my family is Polish. If you look at my username, it's ctskapski. That
Uh-huh.
Skapski is a shortened version of my last name, and it ends in SKI, which is usually a pretty clear indication that someone is Polish. Fun
Cool.
facts.
Um,
All right.
I will definitely admit that while typing your name in, that I got tripped up with the number of consecutive consonants, which
That
uh,
is another good indication that someone is Eastern European.
yes, I don't have much trouble with names in general. I don't have much trouble with last names in general. I in high school had a good friend from Poland, and his last name was Mashevich, and it started with I think four consecutive consonants, and there wasn't an O in there anywhere. Like in
It
his
was
name.
probably an L with a line through it.
It was it could have been. It I mean I just remember like anytime I would go to write out his name or type it, it was like I can't like there are muscle memories going on that just say no vowel
Yeah.
vowel. I'm sure like it's
If you had to compare the Polish language to any other language that people are maybe more familiar with, it would be parcel tongue because it's very sibilant.
yeah yeah
Well, we are in the middle of a kitchen remodel, and we're getting our cabinets repainted right now. And the guy that's doing it is from Poland, and
Hmm.
so one of the guys he has working with him is also Polish. And if you've ever had any work done, at least it's been my experience that when you get work done in your house, you have strange people in your house that you don't know, and you just leave. It's very strange to begin with, but um, normally they speak Spanish because most of them are immigrants and Hispanic. So it's very strange to hang out in my house these days because I hear Polish all day long. And but it's not normal. So maybe God's telling me something because you're Polish and I'm just so it when you started speaking, it actually sounded somewhat familiar. I thought, what is ZB here? Is he painting tonight?
Um, I am painting the world with the glory of my face. You guys get to see me who haven't seen me before. Maybe there are some people who normally uh, comment in my polls. Probably not. Probably not. They get to see all of this for the first time. It's just a magical evening for someone, possibly.
Possibly. Now you are fairly recent. You're fairly new to the app, right? I think it looked like March or something like that.
I would say maybe no, I would say probably. I think the most recent poll that I have on there that was saved is probably from March, but I think I would actually be more accurate saying that I started late last year.
Okay.
Because I think my first poll was not on there. My first poll was whether or not people considered the musical Jesus Christ Superstar to be blasphemous or virtuous. Just out of curiosity.
Well, what do you think?
I think it's fantastic.
Well,
It
that
isn't.
doesn't answer the question though.
Do I think it's blasphemous? No, I do not. I think that the most controversial aspect of it is painting Judas as a somewhat sympathetic character, but considering the idea in Christianity that we're taught is that they were all people, then it's highly unlikely that any character in the biblical narrative would be entirely vitiate or virtuous, except for the ones who are supposed to be.
Cool. Yeah, I honestly have never seen it, so I just know that Jesus has got a rocking voice if he does it correctly.
He does. Yeah, Jesus is pretty rockin'.
I remember when I was younger, and this is my only experience with this. When I was younger, my mother went to go see it with someone or other, and she came back. She came back like just belting out the songs for a good long while, and I asked her one day who it was that played the role of Jesus in the musical, and she said Donny Osmond.
Wow.
That would be a voice for Jesus, yeah, in that musical. The songs, I'm pretty sure it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, and if anybody has ever seen, you folks probably don't like musicals much at all. I enjoy them. Andrew Lloyd Webber is an excellent lyricist and also songwriter, as in terms of composer. That's the word that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, this has started helping me out, so it's going to be harder to find words. And
I saw Phantom a couple times in Toronto. I mean,
so then, yeah, that's also Andrew Lloyd Webber. So the same type of power and emotion that it can be conveyed in some of the songs in The Phantom, such as in the Overture, or in most notably Music of the Night, and probably, I would say, in terms of expressing feeling, Think of Me, probably. As well as the playfulness of songs like Masquerade. Imagine all that energy converted to the story of the Passion.
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoy musicals. I need to experience more of them. But Les Mis, Chicago, is it Avia? I believe I've seen.
Evita. Tim Rice was the lyricist for Jesus Christ Superstar, by the way. Sorry, I just must correct myself.
Well, you know what? Andrew Lloyd Webber is pretty stinking fantastic too, anyway.
He did the scores and the composition.
Well, so you were right, composer. There you go. So are you a college student? Because you don't look like an old guy like us.
I am 25. I am not a college student. I am a working drone, slaving away so that not everyone has to.
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I actually slaving away is a bit of an exaggeration. I work at a call center, and so I take calls all day, helping people with usually people who are having trouble with the financial system.
Mm-hmm.
Won't get too into detail because I'm not entirely sure how much detail I'm allowed to give away with my job. So we'll leave it at that. People are having financial trouble. They call me, and I help them situate things.
Cool.
And now that you're not at work, you're wearing a headset and talking to us.
I am a glutton for punishment.
I guess so.
But you have very good diction, and I can tell that you give good phone. So, you know what? I'm uber impressed. Well, since you don't know that much about us, I'm assuming, I'm a stay-at-home dad, have been for 9 years, and I have 3 kids, 7, 12, and 14. And I'm the old guy on the show. Guyton is a college professor, so he's way smarter than I am. Also with 3 children on the other end of the spectrum. They are much smaller. And if we're lucky,
7, 5, and 3.
we'll see one or two of them pop in. And Julie was the beautiful lady that was here before we came on the air, and they are husband and wife. So
How very domestic.
Know a little bit
I
more
know.
about us as well.
I know, and if you would have known me growing up, or even, so we've been married for 8 years. If you would have known me 10 years ago, you would have never believed any of this at all. I'm a very different person
How so?
than I was then. I had a weird childhood that wasn't great. It led to a strange time, but a lot of views that probably weren't necessarily fair. I had every intention of, at one point or other, just finding some kind of a job I wanted to do and adopting a kid. I've always wanted to have a kid. I had no interest whatsoever in getting married. I grew up around people that a lot of people that had their marriages fall apart, sometimes for their own doing or their partner's doing, or just whatever kind of stuff came up. And I had not actually ever seen a remotely successful marriage. Marriage was just that step that people took before they started hating each other. So, no interest, and I have very much come around.
Neat. And you do these Science Fridays, I know, because I play each week, that you do them. Most of the time I don't fail terribly. So do you teach science, or some kind of science, rather?
I do. I teach physics.
Oh, fun. So much math. Then again, what science isn't so?
It is a lot of math, but if you can get a good handle on the math, the science is really interesting.
I agree. I am not college educated because life sometimes gets in the way of things.
Right.
I intend to go back when I can afford it, but who knows when that's going to be. But I have read up. The farthest I've gotten in physics was reading on the current state of M theory. Is that still the prevailing theory, or have I become obsolete?
Not obsolete.
Okay.
In the last, a lot has changed in the last decade, honestly. And I don't know if much has been thrown out so much as more keeps being added.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult right now to stay current. In the last, in the last little while, we've discovered a couple more elementary particles. We've discovered, gravity waves, that was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
The Higgs boson, that was a big one. So there's a lot of stuff that was like, it was always, it had been theorized for some time, but it's, in actually discovering it, it's shaking things up more than you would have expected it to.
Right, yeah, now that it's been proven, its consequences of it being proven are being more felt than they were expected to be, I guess, is what you're saying. That's neat. Question. You work in academia, so you would be in a completely different position than I am, who is not a part of it at all, on this position. So I want to know what someone who works in academia's position on this is. Currently, academic journals can be a bit exclusive, I suppose. Looking at online academic journals is easy if you're a university student, but more difficult if you're like me. However, a certain application exists called SciHub, which is, depending on your point of view, either piracy or a an attempt to counter the monopoly of academia on knowledge.
Well spoken, my friend.
Took a while to parse that with the alcohol.
That was very diplomatically put. So, so your question is, where do I stand on that?
That is probably what I was trying to ask.
Without being able to speak for more people than just myself,
of course,
I am a huge proponent of education. I think, and I don't necessarily mean like a formal academic education, but just the idea of you can educate yourself just by reading. You don't have to go to a school for that. You can, as long as you are learning something. I think that's progress. And my stand on it, I will very gladly give out copies of anything I write. I don't have any problem with that. I think it's really difficult to, from a personal standpoint, to both promote education and withhold research from people. My view on it, and I understand a lot of ins and outs and why it isn't this way, but my view on it is that it should be much more easily accessible to anyone. And I don't just mean in the sense of money and physical access, but also there is a snobbery with which papers are written, and that it's encouraged in some journals, especially to write in a certain way. And I think in writing in that certain way, that at some point or other, you're just trying to talk over people's heads without really do what you need to do. That people are just trying to talk over other people's heads with no real intention of having anyone understand it, except for the couple of people who know that field, sometimes even worldwide. So I think not only should these things be more easily physically accessible to people, but they should be written. I mean, you have to be careful to use the right words when you write. So I don't think that they should be, necessarily written so that absolutely anyone can pick it up. But
you feel that in certain ones there's too much jargon. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Some things, you shouldn't necessarily be able to get every single thing if you are coming from square one. But to say, this paper builds on this and builds on this. So with a general understanding, you might not be able to follow all of the math or all of the specifics, but you can at least get the results and get what's going on, what we were testing and why. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am all for making science and academia in general, I suppose, much more easily accessible to everyone.
Neat.
Yeah, it sounds like it's much like the Bible was back when it was only written in Latin, and only the clergy were able to read it. So,
yeah, it does seem similar. Luckily, the Illuminati is still around, and so
That's true. Well, hey, you put your hoodie back on. So you've got a great lighting scheme going on right now, because you seem like a floating head is what you look like. There's nothing back there behind you. It's just shrouded in mystery. And so exactly, and you put that hoodie back on, and you could be like the head of the Illuminati. It was quite a good look for you.
it's let's see. I can't do it with the headphones on. Conviteo Deo omnipotenti.
Very nice.
For those of you who don't know, that's the opening lines to the Hunchback of Notre Dame song Hellfire, which is, to the best of my knowledge, the only Disney song about rape.
Oh.
Fun facts about Disney songs.
Well, you should also know that I just got a personal message from Susan R., who says that you are quite a cutie.
Well, thank you, Susan. I know. It's the receding hairline.
Join the club. Yeah, so you've received at least one fan from tonight's program.
I am familiar with Susan. Susan follows me. I think she follows me. At least she comments on some of my polls. She's a very nice person.
Susan rocks. She is definitely.
Is that what the R stands for?
Yes, Susan Rock. Exactly. I honestly have no idea what the R stands for.
I do know.
Oh, you do?
Now it's for Susan Rocks. That's what it's for.
Now it's for Susan Rocks.
And too, Ron, if you're Facebook friends with her, right?
I assume it's her last initial. is my guess, and I am friends with her on Facebook.
I started doing Facebook. It really weirds me out, but it's for work, and sadly that also means that I'm trying to figure out a way to get somewhat active on there. It's all sorts of strange for me.
Yes, you posted a picture of a pendulum earlier today.
Yeah, there's a video coming with that too. It's we've got a big long pendulum that's about 60 feet long that we hang down. Well, we just made a mount for it and hang it from the catwalk in the gym and go down to the gym floor, and you can indirectly measure the rotation of the Earth.
Is Foucault?
Yes.
Yes. I won Science Friday on Tuesday.
There you go.
Now, is it a bowling ball? Is that what I saw?
It is. It's a bowling ball with a laser mounted inside it.
How did you mount a bowling ball? I didn't see how you had it, because they're not normally hung from long strings.
Now, sorry, sorry to interrupt, but people have this idea of scientists as madmen, but here you have bowling balls with lasers inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
You're contributing to the stereotype. I hope you know this.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true, but it's fun. And not all physics labs run this way, not all physics classes run this way, but I like to have fun with my students and with what we do, and so yeah, we have things like that. We have one we're doing that's called a Rubens tube. It's a big long tube, and you drill holes in the top of it, and then you feed a propane stream in through the bottom. And when you light it, you just get all these tiny little flames. But you put a speaker inside one end of the tube, and as you play a sound through it, the sound makes these standing wave patterns inside the tube that are different air pressures. And places with higher air pressure then push more propane out through the holes, so those flames get taller. And with lower pressure, you get smaller flames. So then when you hook up music to it, because that's really the way to go, then you get an equalizer effect with fire.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put that a video on Facebook for that. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a request for that.
I will do that. I will do
My
that. I'll have that up in the next little bit.
Because
my grandfather.
I've heard you explain that, and I still don't have a great vision for what it is, but it sounds really cool.
My grandfather has a saying that there is a certain line for every person, and that line is where the reasonable world ends and the magical world begins. And science's job is to push that line farther and farther back. And for me, that line, I understand why those patterns present themselves when sound is played. Like, for example, sand on a paper with a speaker underneath it. I'm sure people have seen those. I understand why that happens is because the sound is occurring in certain patterns, but why those specific patterns themselves, and it's because I don't understand the math yet, that is the line of magic for me.
It's yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, and it's I mean it's totally in the math why it's those specific lines, but once you have something where you know you can create patterns with pressure and sound, then it's just a matter of how can you make those patterns look cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And fire's a nice one.
I bet.
Yeah, you add fire to anything, and it just makes it cooler.
That's true.
So what? You obviously aren't going to be a phone person for the rest of your life. Where are you going to be in 10 years?
That's a good question.
Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Where I would like to be in 10 years is I would like to go back to school. It's not in the cards at the moment, but I would like to go back to school specifically for computer sciences because I just would like to be comfortable. And that seems to be something that I do well, computer sciences. I have been building and repairing computers since I was 4 with the assistance of my dad and 8 on my own. And I know very little about programming, and I would like to learn more because if I learn more, then I can work with something that I enjoy and also be comfortable doing so. And that's my goal.
Well, I'm kind of torn in what advice to give you because
That's right, buddy.
just from talking to you, it seems like you are just incredibly bright and brilliant, and you're the type of person that if you get into college, they will beat a lot of stuff out of you and put you into a particular box to fit into that. But you are the type of person that, just from what I can tell, you can go out and you're a Steve Jobs kind of guy. I think
I should defend myself a little by saying that you have no idea how incredibly stubborn I am.
right. And well, and it takes a bit of that in order to go make $1 billion company. So I think if you got the right incentive, I don't think you necessarily need college. I mean, you obviously are getting the education. You're just not getting the diploma.
But the diploma is what matters. Unfortunately, the diploma today is the only important part as far as your economic standpoint goes.
Well, right, unless you decide to, buck the system and go your own way. You don't necessarily have to work for somebody else.
Well, as owning my own business, that seems like a hassle that I don't necessarily want. It seems like owning my own business would be directly in opposition to my being comfortable because I'd have to be responsible for so many other people, which just doesn't seem wonderful at all. The things that I like to do, typically I do for free. Like Mr. Firefly said that he is perfectly fine with giving out copies of things that he has written. I also, whenever I make something, if I do something artistically or anything like that, And I taught myself how to write music because I teach myself anything that I want to know, because I have to. Who else is going to teach me? And anything that I've written, I give out for free. But then again, I'm not educated in music, so I feel like somebody who's not educated in music giving away music that they've written is probably not that great.
Kind of like my kids give me stuff that they drum in school all the time.
Exactly. Here, Mom. Here's this. Here is this orchestral overture that I wrote, and can you please hang it on your refrigerator?
Mm-hmm. Well, where would somebody find some of the stuff that you've written?
See, there's the thing. I produce the stuff that I write. It is available for free, but it's available under the name of a character that I write under. That makes sense. And it's produced in association with 2 other folks. And since I've, in this setting, have not maintained my anonymity, I would not want to compromise their anonymity by revealing that here.
You've totally outed yourself on Hangout, so now we can't.
I have. Not here, anyway.
What you're saying is we can't get your free stuff. You're refusing to.
No, you can. I just won't tell you where it is. I can't tell you where it is. Right.
So what instruments have you taught yourself how to play?
Play? None. I have stupid meat fingers. However, I know how they're played. I just lack the dexterity. I have all of the dexterity of a pregnant cow. I lack the dexterity to actually play them, but I understand how they're played, and I have tried very hard to recreate actively how they're played, because I write in MIDI, which is a computer format, and so I let my computer play whatever I write. I don't know if I can maybe drop a sample of something that I've written. I would have to find it, which I may be able to do. But I can maybe play a sample from somewhere. Let's see. Meanwhile, so that we're not just dead air, you folks feel free to think of things.
Talk amongst yourselves. What type of music is it? Is it orchestral?
Well, so far it's instrumental because I don't know if you can hear my voice, but it's okay, and that's the best I'll say about it. I was a choir boy for a number of years. I still am on like Christmas, just because it's fun. But as a soloist, I fall very, very, very short. So anything that I do is instrumental. I have one piece that I've written was I've a couple orchestral, a couple that are just instrumental melodies, and a few pieces of different music. Like there's this one. It's industrial ambience is, I suppose, what the genre would be called. It's inspired by the music of Akira Yamaoka, who is a writer of music for the Silent Hill video game series. And I'm fond of a lot of his music.
Yeah, see, I just think you're just making stuff up now.
I am. No, none of that I said actually exists.
That is all just complete hogwash. So.
Yep.
Oh, you said it. I was trying to remember the music from Silent Hill.
Let's see. Well, if I can find anything. Unfortunately, I can play it over my phone, but it will sound like garbage. I can do that much, though. So it'll be garbage, but it'll be something. Let's see. Because I have it saved on here, because I'm a narcissist. Remember that.
That's right.
It'll be on the test.
Now, I assume that you've not done any type of album or anything that we could find on iTunes or anything like that.
No. No. Am I still connected?
Yeah, you're still connected.
Okay, because I had heard ambient sound and then it stopped.
Yeah, Firefly might not be connected anymore.
Yeah. As an example of what it sounds like, again, this will sound like garbage because it's from a phone, but
Fun.
I like cellos
Uh-huh.
and apparently cymbals. I don't know what I was doing there.
And all that's through your computer?
That's enough of that. Yeah, through my computer.
Okay, so since you can't out yourself on air, would you be above, like in a personal message, if someone were to say, "Hey, I'd like to hear a little more of your music," if it's off of this area, but like in a personal message, would you send a link or anything like that?
Usually, it depends on how well that person knows me. Generally, I'm fine with it because people don't actually know who I am, so it's okay.
Because I mean, we go way back, like 20 minutes and stuff. So
Yeah.
I figure we're like bros, man.
So it's since you know me so well, probably not.
I was going to pull up some questions from last time.
Okay.
I have a rebelling child, and we whatever. So I don't know how long I've got, but
Questions from last time. I've heard how well last time went. That should go perfectly. Let's hear those questions.
For those we talked before we got on air. For those of you that don't remember, Osolis
I don't remember.
Was on last week, and he is a pretty hard Bernie supporter. Was on with Brandon. Is it Brandon P?
Braden. Yeah.
Braden, yeah. And so he showed up with his Trump regalia, and it was before the election. And he pretty much informed us all that Trump was going to win, and he monologued through the whole show. So it was kind of fun to watch Osolis handle that, and it was quite an interesting program.
Two people with such different opinions and not have them just lash out.
To be clear, I'm perfectly fine with talking about religion, sex, and politics. It's just up to you folks, whatever you're not comfortable with. Obviously, we don't have to talk about.
Well, and like I said earlier, we're the only one on, so you're not going to fight with us. So wherever the conversation takes us.
Okay.
A couple from last time that we didn't get to. Maybe not. Maybe we did get to these.
Well, while you're looking, I noticed that your avatar on your picture basically is it of Jesus?
No, that is a picture in a local art museum. It is the picture specifically, and I can pull it up on my phone because I like arts. Arts are nice, and it is a picture of Solomon and the two women, Solomon and the two mothers. Do you know the story?
No, I don't know the story.
You don't know the story of Solomon and the two mothers? Okay.
And the baby. I got you.
Yes, it is the only picture in the art museum that features a dead baby, to the best of my knowledge. Can't be sure with some of those pieces.
Okay, well, for those of you who are at home, that is what it looks like there.
Yep.
And so I recognized it as a biblical character. But cool. So why did you choose that?
Well, I'll get into that. First, I wanted to share this that I found. This was one of my Halloween costumes. The orange hair and the orange face. Unfortunately, I didn't have blonde hairspray, so it would have been better. That was my Donald Trump costume.
Ah.
On the same day, in pretty much the same outfit, I was also Patrick Bateman.
Nice.
Anybody know who Patrick Bateman is?
I am going to guess So I'm thinking a Dexter type of character, like some type of.
That's similar. American Psycho.
Okay.
So yes, it's very similar. For some reason, I have pictures that are just darkness on my phone.
I have an important question. I remembered that there was one.
Okay, go for it.
2 times ago, and we didn't get to it. And then Susan had been disappointed that we didn't get to it. So here it is, Susan. I'm trying to bring it back for you. From 007 Link. Do you believe that bacon donuts are a threat to society?
Bacon donuts. Bacon and donuts is the second time they've come up. I don't believe they are a threat. I think they are a promise.
Here, come sit.
Once we reach the utopia that I do hope that we all reach for, we will have bacon incorporated in donuts. And I believe that America will be great again once we get to the bacon donuts.
I had a bacon on a donut, and it wasn't that great.
It wasn't that great. All right, now what? Oh, is that the rest?
Very blurry.
That's the rest of the painting, and it's blurry, and I'm not sure how to adjust the focus on this camera. I was sort of hoping that it would focus automatically, but that doesn't seem to be happening. You got a little Solomon right there, and there's a baby somewhere. Yeah, and the baby.
Cool.
Just like to point out that you said that a dead baby was cool.
Yeah, well, no, my wife is a baby doctor, and she deals with death all the time. So
Okay.
It's one of those things. One of the strange things in my life.
That's quite a reaction.
Yeah.
No, not your reaction.
Oh, her reaction.
Yes.
So Julie, you were not a fan of the bacon donut.
I gotta say that there aren't a lot of donuts that I've met that I haven't finished, and I didn't finish this one. It was maple, and it had bacon on it, and it was like saying all the right things. I don't know.
Now, was it a Krispy Kreme donut? Because to me, that's really the only type of donut that's worth anything.
Oh, that's because you don't have Sweetwater.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was from this fancy schmancy bakery in Chicago.
Is that a brand name, Fancy Schmancy?
Clearly, I don't know.
Trademark.
It was at a birthday party for a baby.
Wow. Okay.
Fantastic.
And they had these maple glazed bacon donuts and pistachio donuts and all sorts of other.
Wait. Pistachio donuts?
Is that the one I had?
Just back up. If you're gonna hate before you've ever had one, Ron.
No, there was
Pistachio
there.
donuts sound wonderful.
Wait, is that the one I had?
That's the one you had.
Yeah, that was really good.
I just wanted to make sure that I heard it correctly.
You heard right.
Okay. So
Okay.
some type of nut donut.
Well, when you put it that way, Ron.
I want to make sure that I got it right.
He finished his whole nut donut. I wasn't a fan of my meat donut.
Okay. Well, they both have their I guess their healthy share of protein on the donut. So.
Anyways, I would say that I was disappointed in the bacon on the donut. I had expectations and they were not met.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I didn't eat 3/4 of that donut. But
you got to make sure that it wasn't just an anomaly that first bite. You got to make
that's
sure
what I
that.
was saying. And I had to eat all the bacon first, so the part of the donut was left in that bacon.
You have to be empirical about your donuts.
It's all for science, really. I mean.
Now, I personally have not met any bacon donuts. I'm sure that they're wonderful people, some of them. But I've got to say, it sounds like they are saying wonderful things. I don't know. I think they are probably bad. As for whether or not they are the harbingers of the end of the society, I don't know. That depends. That depends. Do you mean they could bring about the end of society by being so delicious that they just cause our health to take that final plunge that McDonald's started? Or actually, I guess probably White Castle started. They were
With a
first.
sample size of 1 so far, I don't think that's the case.
With a sample size of 1, we're probably good. I'm going to go ahead and say that donuts should be free to be whatever they want to be, and we should not be concerned because I think that society would rebound from any kind of donut that might be manufactured and presented to us.
And I would like to go on record to say that I believe any donut should be able to go into any bathroom that it so identifies with. If it's a bacon donut, but it wants to be a pistachio donut, I think that it should be able to go into the pistachio donut bathroom.
You guys are also touchy-feely and nice.
Being from North Carolina, I feel like I need to represent. Okay? So.
I personally would not want any donuts at all in my bathroom.
Well, you, sir, have not lived.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I haven't. Speaking politically, as far as the transgender bathroom issue, I don't really see the issue because I would rather not be aware of, and I've said this on the app, I would rather not be aware that anyone else has used that bathroom or is using that bathroom at all. I don't really care their gender or their gender identity. I have seen no science that says that one specific gender or gender identity is particularly more dangerous. So I actually would prefer if transgender folk were allowed to use the bathroom. I think that they already are because in most cases you can't tell that someone is transgender. And so if they use a bathroom, chances are nobody's going to know. So I really don't see the issue. But apparently some do. So honestly, I think it's better if transgender folks can, because if only one biological sex is allowed to use the bathroom, I know for one fact that all of those people have the same set of genitals. And so that's one thing that I know about anybody who walks in that room. And that's one more thing that I want to know about anyone that walks into that room. I don't want to know that you exist, let alone that you have biological aspects. No.
As representing North Carolina, I think it is much ado about nothing, and I think that it was originally put forth somewhat as a political trap by the people down in Charlotte. Really just set a trap for our current governor, and it appears to have worked, being as it looks like he's about to lose his governorship. But like you said, they've been using whatever bathrooms they want to for the past, however many years that we've had transgenders, and nobody knows.
Which is always likely.
For as long as there have been bathrooms?
For as long as there have been bathrooms, there have likely been transgendered individuals. There are records of transgendered individuals dating back to Native societies. In fact, certain Native American societies venerated transgender individuals. And now, let me be clear. I am in no way a proponent. I am, in fact, steadfastly against the concept as it has developed of social justice. I think it is a bane significantly more than a boon. I think that idealistically, perhaps it could be a boon, but I think that in the form in which it's used and the measure to which it's abused, it has not and cannot possibly at its current state be anything but a bane. That's my personal stance.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and look at the transcript because I'm not exactly sure what you said there, but it was very impressive. So, but yeah, anyway, who knows what's going to end up with this whole bathroom thing? Chances are we're going to get a new governor, and he's going to blitz the whole thing, and everything will go back to normal, at least here in North Carolina, except for people will still not go to Target. So
That's funny to me. Not funny as in comical. That's, I don't know.
It's funny to me as in comical because people are funny to me as in comical because if I did not laugh, I would cry.
yes.
Just generally speaking, doesn't matter what aspect of life. If I didn't laugh at it, I would just be completely and utterly depressed.
Well, I was surprised. Sometime this week, somebody put up a poll. Are you actively boycotting something? I was shocked at the amount of people that are still saying that they're boycotting Target.
I am in that. I am in that particular poll, as a proponent for my stance that I do not want to know anything about anyone who is using the bathroom at all ever.
So you are on record.
I am on record as not wanting to know anything about you if you're using the restroom.
So if I go into a public bathroom and you are standing at the urinal, I am required to leave the empty urinal between us? Is that the...
I mean, that's common courtesy.
Yeah.
Required, no, but I will completely ignore your existence.
Oh, so if I talk to you while in the bathroom, that's
We know that's not happening. You can talk, but you may as well turn to the other side and talk to the empty space.
Oh, okay. There will be no response.
Exactly.
Okay.
You may see me shift slightly away from you, as far as I can, since I'm currently using the urinal and I'm tethered by a stream that will dictate how far I can go. But that's the only response you get.
Your stream's probably pretty healthy still. You know, when you get to people my age, you got to stand closer to the urinal because the stream just isn't what it used to be.
This, sir, is the first time we've met, and I do not think I need to comment on the strength of my stream.
See, there you go. This is the added advantage of having me on. You eventually start talking about stuff like streams in the bathroom. So, but as long as we don't talk in the bathroom. All right, now
that's fine. Yes.
Okay. What if we're like in the actual toilet stall?
Why are we in the same toilet stall? First off,
no, I'm sorry. We're in side by side toilet stalls. So let's say I'm in the stall next to you. I'm out of toilet paper and I'm in desperate need of toilet paper.
Are you about to ask if you can spare a square?
Yeah, exactly. Can you spare a square, my friend?
In the sake of for the sake of human decency, I would spare a square, but my day would be ruined.
Okay. Well, I would hate for I'd probably take one for the team in that case, and I would just stay quiet and wait until you were gone, and then
Now, just to avoid that situation, I'm going to personally go into every single stall every time I use the restroom just to make sure that they have enough toilet paper.
Well,
you know what? Added to my obsessive tendencies.
You know what? You may have just crossed over into the social justice warrior area yourself. If that's going to be your cause, man, I'm, knock it out.
That would be a case for social justice. Well, see, it doesn't really count as social justice because you're not advocating the personal behavior of anyone. I would support, even though I identify most strongly with libertarians, I would support a government initiative to stock bathrooms with toilet paper. I suppose that is an initiative that I could definitely get behind, along with education.
A square for every stall. That can be your.
There you go.
That could be your mantra.
Skapski 2020. A square for every stall.
We even have campaign T-shirts with just a thing of toilet paper that says "This is how we roll."
There you go. I've already got two signs. You've got "This is how we roll" and just a white square, because you've got to have that idealized type of slogan. Just a white square with Skapski in I guess red and blue, alternating letters for fairness.
I really like it. You have my vote.
There we go. One down.
That's right.
Are you perhaps in the Electoral College?
Oh, I'm not, but I am in a swing state, so my vote counts more than, say in
There
California.
you go.
I can't vote, but I'm in a state that shouldn't have been a swing state.
Yeah.
Is it Michigan?
It is Michigan.
It is Michigan. I was right. I pay attention to the world vaguely, as
So,
much as I can.
so here's something interesting for you. That's the vote differential between the two candidates in Michigan was 13,000 votes, which is, zero,
Yeah.
right? There were 110,000 people, a little more than 110,000 people, who cast a ballot but didn't vote for president in Michigan, which is almost 10 times the margin of victory. In Pennsylvania, the number of people who didn't vote for president but did cast a ballot was, I think I saw that it was something like 8 times the margin of victory there. Um, I'll turn this into a question and say, what do you think of this?
Well, I'll counter your question with a question. My lead up to the question is, I did not vote for either of the major candidates. I got a lot of flack, not so much on the app, but in real life, because I was vocal about not supporting either of the primary candidates because I strongly disagree with both of them, stating that by voting for someone other than the primary candidates, I was A, throwing away my vote, which could be fair, and B, just protest voting. I was not protest voting because I was voting for the person that I actually thought would do a good job. One of the people, because there was more than one. To be clear, the people that I supported were, what's his name? The guy who doesn't know what Aleppo is. Gary Johnson and Rocky De La Fuente. So, is not voting for one of the primary people, one of the people who is expected to win, throwing away your vote?
I will answer that the way I talked to my wife about it. My wife didn't want to vote for either of them. And she was going to, I don't know who she was going to vote for, but let's say it was for my dad. I told her voting for one of the non-4 parties would be completely throwing away her vote. Voting for the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, at least your vote will be counted. And it can be seen as a protest vote, in such as, I am a voter, I am going to vote for someone other than one of the 2 major candidates because I disagree with both of them. But if you vote for just random guy, I think that is a completely wasted vote because it's not really counted.
I suppose if it was completely random, I would agree. My response to most people has been, if I vote for someone whom I do not agree with, that is a thrown away vote. Unless I vote for what I believe in, it is a thrown away vote. That's what I've said. But yeah, I guess I would agree if you are voting for somebody completely random, that I suppose would be a throwaway. Or if you're voting for Harambe, that would be a protest.
Exactly. Yeah, and he got like 100,000 votes or something.
11,000.
Oh, 11,000. Yeah,
is what I heard. Let me double check.
But still, yeah, that's a wasted vote. A dead gorilla is a wasted vote.
Harambe lives on, though. I mean,
but Guyton, to answer your question, what do I think about people not voting and how they may have swayed the election? I laid the blame of that at the feet of the candidates. They're terrible candidates. Both of them were. And more people voted against either of them than voted for them, in my opinion.
Is it the fault of the candidates or the fault of the folks who voted in the primaries?
Well, yes.
Yes, is the short answer to that.
Yeah, both of them. I think especially, at least what was reported on the news, both candidates did more talking about their opponent than they did their agenda. Tell me why you want me to vote for you and not why I shouldn't vote for the other.
Unfortunately, studies show that that doesn't work anymore. Studies
Yeah.
don't show that. It's just that seems to be the trend. Just sounds more official when you say studies show.
and do it with confidence, and then no one will question you.
Yep. Pretend you know what you're doing, and no one will know that you don't.
Right. And if you precede it with a strong fact, then
Fact. Studies have shown that talking about why you should be elected no longer works.
There's no way to challenge that. That is gospel.
Mm-hmm. A number of Americans, particularly felons and convicts, cannot vote. However, these individuals still pay taxes. Does this count as taxation without representation if these folks cannot choose their representation?
I
Yes.
believe it is taxation without representation, but Guyton pays taxes.
Who?
Firefly.
Oh, right. Yes, but should he pay taxes? Because wasn't one of the principal acts upon which our nation was founded the rebellion of taxation without representation? I forget.
I see where you're headed with that. I would say the difference between Firefly and a felon is that Firefly, should he choose to go through the motions, can become a citizen and can vote.
Is Firefly Canadian?
Firefly is from Europe.
Oh, okay. At least you're not Canadian.
No, not Canadian.
Are you Canadian?
Do I look Canadian?
A little.
Sorry.
That cinched it.
They're close. You're close to the Canada, aren't you?
Yeah, no.
You mean in Michigan?
Yeah.
In Michigan, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I've never been to Canada.
I've been to Canada once.
I have not. I've known a lot of Canadians. They're very nice.
I used to go to Canada a lot, and then now I can't.
What, you got kicked out? They won't let you back in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a story. I need to hear that. Why? How come you can't go back into Canada?
No, that's a story for after.
There's this mountain. I can't.
Canada band.
No, the other big question that I wanted to ask. Yes was my answer to your question about is that taxation without representation? Absolutely.
Is it unconstitutional? Because our country was founded in part to rebellion against taxation without representation.
I don't believe that it is written in the Constitution that, no, while it's in the spirit, I don't think it's
in the spirit, but it's not particularly unconstitutional. Sure, I will concede to that.
So I will say, whether I agree or disagree with it is one issue, but is it constitutional? Yeah, I think strictly it is.
Yep, that's fair.
The other question I wanted to ask with regards to voting is, do you think it's irresponsible to be a single-issue voter?
Personally, yes. Because if you only care about a certain issue, and that is solely, let's say, as an example, to go to the logical extreme and invoke Godwin's law, let's say you are, or at least brush up against it a little bit, let's say you're in Germany in the early 20th century, or 20th century, mm-hmm. and you're electing, and this certain candidate is promoting what they claim will be a better life for Germans, and plenty of Lebensraum, plenty of space for living, and that's what you care about. That's the only thing you care about. Congratulations, you elected Hitler. I mean, that's an extreme example. It's an extreme example, and it is a fallacy for as extreme as it is. But it is still an example.
I would still rather someone be a single issue voter than someone who has absolutely no knowledge of what they're voting. They're just voting because someone said, hey, you need to vote for this person.
Do you mean a partisan voter?
Yeah, well, not necessarily. Well,
not a voter who belongs to a party, but a partisan voter, a voter who votes because that is their party's vote.
Right. Well, I know that, well, for instance, my mom for years has no idea what's going on politically. As she walks into the voting booth, she asks my dad, who do we vote for? And he says, this is who I'm voting for. And she votes for that person as well. She normally just goes straight down the ticket and votes for that party. So she's gotten better in recent years, but growing up, that's how she did. You know, I'm a firm believer of if you have no knowledge of who you're voting for, you should not be voting for them. So I think our elections would look way different if there was some type of quiz or test that you had to take before voting. I'm not an advocate for that because, you know, we've been down that road before.
Right.
Everyone has a right to vote. Just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean that you should. But I don't know how to fix that problem.
So what you're saying is everyone who has suffrage, so not everyone, not counting felons and immigrants who have not yet attained citizenship, has the right to vote, but one has the responsibility only if one is knowledgeable about the subject.
That sounds much fancier than what I said, so I'm going to go with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. Helps that I said it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the people that say, no matter who you are, get out and vote. No, I disagree with that. No matter who you are, go educate yourself.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Sure. I would have voted for Uncle Ben. He was a wise man.
Susan wants to know if anyone has tried the Voodoo Donuts Maple Bacon Ale. And if anyone that's around has.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say sorry. I don't even know what that is. But I would. So, Susan, if you want to mail me said donut, I would be more than happy to try one. I would even try it on air.
No, this is an ale.
Oh, an ale?
Flavored as donuts.
As in like a donut flavored beer?
They got so caught up in the idea that they could, nobody stopped to think whether or not they should.
Yes.
To quote Jurassic Park.
The letters on the end and changed it from a donut to a drink. Susan, I will take up Ron's banner here and say that if such a thing were made available to me, I wouldn't even know where to get it. If such a thing were made available to me, I would very gladly try it and very gladly on air and let you know. I'm also relatively picky about beers and ales, so I think that might work out. But so that seemed like it came out of nowhere, that last comment, for me interjecting it anyway. And it did. It's because she had commented twice and I read the wrong one out loud. The one that she wrote that I meant to read out loud is that you lose some of your rights as a citizen when you're a prisoner. She says she doesn't see it as unconstitutional, but doesn't think it applies to a non-citizen either. And yeah, you do lose certain rights when you are imprisoned, but then once you have I guess that's one of those important questions that comes up is once you have served your sentence, should voting rights be reinstated?
If you lose them and you remain a citizen, you do not lose your citizenship when you become a prisoner, but you do lose these rights. Are they therefore rights of citizenship, or are they privileges of citizenship? And if they are privileges of citizenship, alcohol, should we call them rights? One of the rights that you lose is your right to bear arms, which is supposed to be a constitutional right for all citizens, but it is not true for prisoners, who, again, remain citizens.
That's true.
That's a good one to spend some time thinking about.
Not that I'm particularly advocating that all felons should just be given guns. That's not my stance. But I'm making strictly a point about the words themselves. Are they actually rights if you can lose them?
Yeah. Inalienable rights at that.
Right.
That is a great point. Yeah. Smarter men and women than me will have to make that decision. Of course, I just err on the side of don't become a felon.
Let's work on electing some.
Yeah, let's do.
I think we should probably call it. Julie and I were talking yesterday, and we kind of had a moment of realizing just how brutal 2016 has been. That thought got away from me. There was a question on the end of it, and it got away from it completely.
Yeah, it was definitely a brutal year. Glenn died, and just so much has happened. That's Glenn? The Walking Dead reference.
Oh, yes. Agreed. How can any of us go on?
I have had, this is going to sound stupid, but I have had flashes of that, of the death of Glenn, and I'm not particularly invested in the show or the characters, but because of how graphically it was portrayed, and I'm not in any way denying their right to portray it that way. In fact, I would support it. I have had flashes of that where I'm just like sitting there doing my work, and I'm like, wow, that was a really violent death. I don't know why.
Well, I can tell you that I am a fan of the show, and I fell headfirst into that episode, and it stayed with me for several days. So, yes, I still feel your pain, so to speak.
But yeah, it's been a year. It's been a great year for comedy and tragedy, depending on your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been a great year for tragedy, regardless of your point of view. There's been enough of it for absolutely anyone.
That's true, but all tragedy is comedy, depending on how you look at it. It's been said, I can't remember by who, but the line between tragedy and comedy is determined by distance. If it's happening to you, it's tragedy, or to folks that you identify with or relate to, it's tragedy. But if it's happening to folks that you see as others, it's comedy.
Yeah, all you got to do is watch one episode of America's Funniest Home Videos to
exactly
depth of that statement.
I think it might have been Harrison Bergeron that said that. No, it was probably somebody a lot older, but never know.
I think that's. I think I very much have to disagree with that statement. But then the tragedies that pop into my head immediately aren't really on the scope of somebody gets hit while they're teaching someone how to swing a golf club.
True. You have other scales of tragedy in your life, so.
It could just be a difference, though, in the amount of empathy between you and another person. You could have more empathy than us, and than any certain other person in viewing the same incident.
That's entirely possible. There are some things that come to mind that I don't think I could come up with a lens wherein they could be comedic.
I've been to the internet. I myself might not find certain things funny, but I know where I can find people who do. I think that it's all subjective. That's what I was meaning to say, but I certainly did not get to it quick enough. I blame this.
But I think on that note, this is probably a good time to end it. I would like to thank you for being on.
Sure, if you ever want to have me on again, I'm probably not doing anything. I don't have much of a life. So
Well, it was a pleasure. It was really nice getting to know you, and I have followed you while talking. So I will make myself very aware of your polls in the future.
Okay, and anybody else interested in following me, because I have to plug myself because I'm a narcissist and an opportunist. Most of my polls involve various aspects of social justice and partisanship, and also certain aspects of minority rights, but I suppose that fits into the social justice aspect. And also just off-the-wall polls like whether or not Jesus Christ Superstar is blasphemous.
Which I'm going to go find. So, yep.
I wish you a good viewing.
Well, and with that, we will say good night to our viewers.
All
Thank
right.
you for being with us, Susan.
And see you next time.
Bye.